Imagine, in just a moment, the world could be changed forever. Two types of weapons, hypersonic missiles and lasers, hold the power to destroy everything, and only two countries have the ability to deploy them, the United States and China. Two superpowers, former enemies, now standing at a crossroads that could determine the future of modern warfare. Are we approaching a conflict where even the smallest mistake could throw the world into chaos? Let's dive into what's really happening in this tense standoff with Navy power. In recent years, threats from China have become clearer than ever, and while the US has always projected strength, it has responded with fierce determination. In August 2020, a highly tense event unfolded in the South China Sea, a strategic area not only for China, but also a hotspot for the entire international community. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, conducted a large-scale ballistic missile test, launching a series of missiles from land-based sites into the region. This wasn't just a routine drill, it was a bold display of power, simulating a direct attack on the enemy's modern warships. With ballistic missiles capable of reaching up to 1,900 miles, about 3,000 kilometers, the PLA sent a clear message. Any US or foreign warships attempting to intervene in this region could become targets of China's missiles. But what's truly remarkable is that these missiles are not ordinary munitions. The DF-21D ballistic missiles, proudly called China's carrier killer, can travel at hypersonic speeds and evade modern air defense systems, something many countries are still struggling to counter effectively. These missiles are designed to strike fast-moving targets like aircraft carriers, destroying critical naval assets from a distance without ever needing to get close to the enemy. So the question many of our viewers are asking is, in a world where more and more great powers are entering the hypersonic arms race, does the US and its allies have what it takes to counter this threat? The answer may lie in the development of new defense systems like laser weapons and America's own hypersonic missiles. But will they be fast enough to intercept Chinese missiles before they can destroy expensive warships? If you have your own answer, feel free to share it in the comments below this video. This is just one of many military drills by China, often seen as warning messages to the US. Will America take these messages seriously? When US reconnaissance aircraft like the RC-135 Cobra Ball appear just as China conducts missile tests, it's likely they're not just observing, they're collecting vital information on these missiles. This particular missile test by China wasn't just a military exercise. It was a powerful statement of the PLA's combat capabilities. The missiles launched in this exercise were the DF-21D and DF-26B, two extremely dangerous ballistic weapons capable of striking distant targets with precision, both at sea and on land. The DF-21D, with a range of 600 to 1,900 miles, can hit fast-moving, large targets like aircraft carriers. It's a medium-range ballistic missile that can destroy warships from afar without ever getting close. Notably, the DF-21D is equipped with a warhead that can travel at hypersonic speeds and features a highly accurate guidance system, making it easy to bypass the defense systems of warships, including the advanced air defense systems used by the US. Alongside it, the DF-26B, a medium to intermediate range ballistic missile, has a range of up to 3,500 miles and can strike targets at extremely long distances without immediate retaliation. This missile can target large assets, including military bases, warships, and other critical infrastructure. Not only capable of attacking warships, the DF-26B can also strike strategic targets, presenting a comprehensive threat to the US and its allies. What's notable is that both of these types of missiles not only have impressive ranges, but they're also designed to strike precisely at hard-to-reach targets. These missiles can travel at hypersonic speeds, making them unbeatable weapons when closing in on their targets. These missiles pose a serious threat to the US Navy, especially in a scenario where the US might need to intervene in a conflict in Taiwan. The United States possesses the most powerful fleet in the world, with massive aircraft carriers that account for a quarter of the total number of aircraft carriers globally. The deck area of US aircraft carriers is twice the size of all the other countries' carriers combined. However, while China doesn't possess equivalent aircraft carriers, they might not need to use them. Instead, they could deploy long-range ballistic missiles like the DF-21D and DF-26 to strike and penetrate the armor of U.S. warships. The threat from these missiles presents an urgent challenge for the U.S. How can they intercept these hypersonic missiles before they hit their targets? Do the current U.S. defense systems have enough strength to protect the giant warships from being destroyed in mere seconds? To address this threat, the U.S. has launched a secret project called Meteor. The goal of this project is to develop a directed energy weapon, W, that could counter China's maritime threats. Many members of Navy power believe that the capability of directed energy weapons far exceeds that of lasers, especially in terms of wide-scale targeting and the flexibility of their effects. Laser weapons, while extremely accurate and able to burn a target instantly, still have certain limitations, such as the ability to penetrate defense layers when faced with highly durable targets, or being affected by environmental factors like rain, dust, or fog. In contrast, directed energy weapons can attack targets from a distance without being affected by weather conditions. They generate microwave pulses that can jam or disrupt the electronics of defense systems, radar, or even weapons control systems of the enemy. DDBUs can launch simultaneous, wide-scale attacks, which is especially useful in combat situations with large numbers of targets, such as drone or warship attacks, where hitting multiple targets at once is crucial. With the ability to emit microwaves at incredible speeds, DDBUs not only provide rapid attack capabilities, but can also fire continuously without the need to reload like traditional munitions. One of the standout advantages of DDBUs is their ability to produce various effects depending on the situation. For example, if necessary, they can jam signals or create powerful destructive effects. Most notably, with speeds approaching the speed of light, the microwaves from DDBUs are almost impossible for Chinese missiles to evade or obscure. These missiles would be neutralized nearly instantly before they have a chance to detect the source of the attack. Furthermore, unlike traditional weapons, DDBUs don't require reloading after each use. As long as there's a power source, they can keep attacking without being limited by the number of munitions. A major advantage is the low cost per shot, allowing the U.S. to deploy this weapon effectively without worrying about resource constraint. According to our research, the cost per shot of DDBUs could be much lower than traditional weapons, such as missiles or munitions. While a modern missile could cost millions of dollars per launch, the cost of using a DDBU typically ranges from a few thousand to tens of thousands of dollars, thanks to the lack of expensive munitions or reloading. A modern missile system, such as the U.S. SM-3 missile, designed to counter ballistic missiles, costs about $3 million per launch. In contrast, the operational cost of an EU system could be as low as $10,000 to $50,000 per shot, depending on the design and scale of the system. This means that strategically, HPM, high-power microwave technology, could significantly reduce costs in long-term conflicts while allowing military forces to use weapons more flexibly without worrying about resource limitations. Could HPM become the game-changing weapon in the showdown between these two superpowers? If you also predict that this technology will become the primary strategic tool for the U.S. Navy, helping them maintain dominance over the oceans and protect freedom of navigation from China's growing threat, drop a 1 in the comments below this video. In recent years, the rapid development of new weapons has forced the entire world to search for effective, lower-cost defense solutions. Imagine an extremely challenging situation. The U.S. must deal with cheap drones worth just $1,000 while having to launch missiles worth millions of dollars to destroy them. It's an unbearable disparity. And when we consider naval warfare, the situation becomes even worse. Warships only have a limited amount of defensive missiles, and when those run out, resupply is not a simple task, as their bases could be thousands of miles away. The recent standoff between the U.S. Navy and Houthi forces in the Red Sea has garnered significant international attention, revealing a shift in modern warfare tactics, especially regarding the use of non-traditional weapons and drone technologies. The Houthi forces, an armed group with ties to Iran, have increased their attacks on US and allied warships in the region. In recent months, the Houthis have launched anti-ship cruise missiles at US Navy warships, some of the most advanced warships in the world. These cruise missiles can be fired from land or small warships and are capable of flying at high speeds and long ranges, enough to strike targets at sea without being immediately detected. Moreover, these attacks are often carried out in surprise scenarios, making it extremely difficult for the US Navy to respond quickly. But it doesn't stop there. The Houthis have also used suicide drones, UAVs that can carry explosive warheads and autonomously crash into targets. This is a low-cost, high-impact form of attack that small armed groups can use to inflict significant damage on large warships without the need for resources like ballistic missiles. These drones not only fly into the target area, but also have the capability to alter their flight path, complicating the defense systems of warships. What's particularly noteworthy about these attacks is the use of unmanned vehicles carrying explosives. These vehicles, which could be small unmanned boats or ships, are equipped with explosives and remotely controlled to crash into warships with the goal of detonating. This type of attack, though low cost, can cause significant damage, especially if the enemy warship cannot react in time or if its defense systems are not strong enough. In response, the US has had to rely on expensive defense missiles, but a major issue is that supply cannot always meet demand in these scenarios. So, with the growing threat of China's hypersonic missiles and the increasing availability of low-cost weapons from around the world, can the US Navy rely on an alternative solution? Here, Meteor's HPM weapon could prove to be a game-changer. Instead of launching costly surface-to-air missiles to counter small threats, HPM can intercept targets at an earlier stage, freeing up expensive missiles for larger threats. Not only that, with its high-energy capabilities, HPM could become a key component of the US Navy's long-term defense strategy. That's why the US has requested over $9 million for the Meteor program in fiscal year 2025, and $13.5 million for the previous year, when the program was still called Red Cat. But until HPM technology can fully replace traditional defense systems, the US Navy will still have to rely on familiar weapons, ballistic missiles. These missiles can arguably be considered the eighth wonder of the world. Whether for offense or defense, ballistic missiles have always been the top choice for the world's most powerful nations, including the United States, with its massive arsenal. Among the ballistic missiles in the US Navy's inventory, the SM-6 is one of the most noteworthy weapons. The SM-6 is equipped with a fragmentation warhead capable of destroying targets through direct impact or by using the debris from the explosion, which increases its effectiveness and reduces the chances of the enemy evading it. This capability allows the SM-6 to take down targets quickly, even when they are moving at high speeds or have advanced defense systems. This also makes the SM-6 an ideal choice for defending against ballistic missiles launched from outer space, especially hypersonic missiles, which are becoming an increasingly significant global threat. One of the standout features of the SM-6 is its ability to destroy targets in low Earth orbit. In combat scenarios, ballistic missiles may travel into space before re-entering to strike targets on land or at sea. The SM-6 can intercept these missiles while they are still falling back down, providing a strong defense not just for warships, but also for military forces on land. Furthermore, the SM-6 can also be used to attack enemy warships, particularly aircraft carriers and large warships, from a distance without needing to get too close to the target. With its precision strike capabilities from hundreds of miles away, the SM-6 helps the US Navy maintain superiority at sea, stopping threats at a distance and protecting warships, including aircraft carriers, from enemy attacks. Thanks to this versatility, the SM-6 is not only a powerful air defense weapon, but also an essential part of the US Navy's comprehensive defense system, protecting warships from missile threats, drones, and even hypersonic weapon attacks. As maritime threats continue to rise, the SM-6 has truly become the U.S. Navy's space shield, helping protect their dominance over strategic sea areas. According to Vice Admiral John Hill, head of the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, the SM-6 is the only weapon in America's arsenal capable of intercepting high maneuverability hypersonic threats. This is no accident. The SM-6 stands out due to its unique design. It combines the dual-stage propulsion system of the SM-3, the airframe of the SM-2, and the seeker and warhead of an advanced medium-range air-to-air missile. This combination makes the SM-6 not just a conventional air defense missile, but also capable of intercepting targets beyond the radar range of a warship. This is particularly important when facing long-range threats that exceed the radar's control range. According to our research, the cost of an SM-6 missile ranges from $1.5 million to $2 million, depending on the configuration and the number of units ordered. Although the cost of each missile is not cheap, it is still much lower than traditional ballistic missile defense systems, such as the Aegis Ballistic Missile Defense (BMD) system, which can cost up to $3 million per missile. However, many believe that considering the cost and effectiveness of opposing hypersonic missiles, the SM-6 still provides highly effective protection at a reasonable cost. If you agree with this thought, leave a 1 in the comments. In 2016, the SM-6 set a record by performing the longest-range missile intercept in U.S. Navy history. Weighing 3,500 pounds, 1.6 tons, and carrying a 140-pound, 63.5 kilograms warhead, the SM-6 can reach altitudes of over 33 miles, 53 kilometers, traveling through space and achieving speeds of Mach 3.5, faster than any aircraft, including the SR-71 Blackbird, the fastest jet in the world. Guided by an inertial navigation system combined with semi-active and active radar in the final stage, the SM-6 can accurately strike targets at ranges up to 230 miles, 370 kilometers. With all these features, it's no surprise that the Meteor's HPM weapons cannot replace the SM-6, but rather will support and complement it. Together, these two weapons will form a perfect defense and offense duo, helping the U.S. Navy protect its warships from any type of weapon, regardless of value, speed, or maneuverability. So, what do you think about the future of the U.S. Navy when combining such powerful strategic weapons like HPM and SM-6? Could they become a golden pair, providing a solid shield against increasingly sophisticated threats from modern weapons like hypersonic missiles and drone attacks? HPM and SM-6 are not just weapons that protect warships, they open a new chapter in the U.S. Navy's strategy, helping them maintain superiority at sea and safeguard their most valuable assets. Could this be the next step for the U.S. to solidify its military power in this ever-changing world? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this combination. Do you believe this is the future of naval defense, or are there other noteworthy solutions out there? Share your opinions in the comments below. Submarines are not only invisible war machines, but they also represent the most advanced technology and superior defense capabilities, helping to protect national security and interests across vast maritime territories. Equipped with modern weapon systems and the ability to remain perfectly hidden underwater, submarines play a crucial role in ensuring strategic superiority and maintaining stability for nations on the high seas. The fact that countries are investing billions of dollars into researching, manufacturing, and perfecting submarines is not only a move to protect territorial integrity, but also a long-term strategy to maintain military strength, especially in long-range warfare situations. Prominent in the field of modern submarine development, the Swedish company Saab Kockums has established itself as a leader with its advanced products, opening up a new future for next-generation submarines that meet the global defense needs in the face of increasing maritime threats. Their cutting-edge technology and continuous innovation have produced submarines capable of extended underwater operations, enhancing the combat effectiveness of naval forces. Saab Kockums is currently manufacturing a line of submarines powered by air-independent propulsion, AIP systems, an advanced technology that allows submarines to stay submerged for extended periods without having to surface. AIP technology fully overcomes the limitations of traditional diesel-electric submarines, which require surfacing to recharge and provide oxygen for their engines. Rather than relying on air to power the engines as in the past, the AIP system uses a chemical reaction between fuel and oxidizers to generate energy without the need for external air. The greatest benefit of this technology lies in its ability to enhance the stealth and invisibility of submarines. In military missions, maintaining deep submerged status and minimizing detection is critical. AIP technology allows submarines to operate continuously for weeks underwater without the need to surface, the time when they are most vulnerable to radar or surveillance systems. Additionally, this system optimizes energy performance, reduces engine noise, and allows submarines to operate quietly and efficiently. Saab is particularly proud of having accumulated over 100 years of experience and exported 7 classes of submarines to 3 different continents. Not only in production, but they also lead with a fully digitized process based on model-based definition, ensuring that product data is always securely stored and protected optimally. The work does not stop at production. Each part of the submarine undergoes rigorous testing in a hyperbaric test chamber, one of the largest test chambers in the world. Here, components are subjected to conditions equivalent to a depth of over 5,200 feet underwater, with pressure 150 times that of the atmosphere. Just imagine how extreme that must be. Not only is there modern technology, but the submarine construction process is also tied to meaningful traditional ceremonies. Do you know which ceremonies mark the beginning and the grand journey of a submarine? Leave a comment below the video on the Navy Power channel and let us know. One of these is the keel laying ceremony, where the name or signature of the sponsor is welded onto a steel plate attached to the hull of the submarine. After passing a series of strict tests, the submarine is officially delivered during the commissioning ceremony. This is a solemn event that marks the submarine's comprehensive completion, from design and construction to its readiness for combat. During this ceremony, the submarine will be presented with the naval flag, symbolizing its integration into the fleet and the beginning of its mission to protect the nation's maritime territory. At this ceremony, the submarine officially joins the naval forces, is delivered, and becomes operational. The event took place in a solemn atmosphere, with the participation of military leaders, senior officials, and representatives of the sponsors. The moment the naval flag was raised officially marked the submarine's full readiness to take on its mission. This is not only a milestone of technical completion, but also a testament to the unity, responsibility, and unwavering sacrifice of the naval soldiers who will navigate the submarine on its challenging journeys. If you've ever participated in a keel laying or commissioning ceremony, share your experience with us in the comments below. The submarine not only carries modern technology, but also symbolizes the strength, resilience, and determination of the entire naval force. However, to ensure the submarine is always ready to face any challenge at sea, it must undergo rigorous maintenance, and this is where the dry dock plays a crucial role in maintaining its strength. When the submarine is pulled into the dock, every system and structure must be thoroughly inspected, from the hull to the electronics, engines, and weapons. The process begins by draining all the water from the submarine, creating space for engineers and maintenance experts to work safely and effectively. Modern combat systems and crucial equipment, including radar, weapons, and defense systems, must also be upgraded to meet the changes in military technology and new combat requirements. When the submarine reaches midlife, a comprehensive upgrade process is carried out to ensure the submarine can continue to operate effectively in harsh combat environments. Interestingly, to bring the submarine into the dry dock, tugboats are needed, these silent heroes of the open sea. Not only do tugboats pull and push large ships, but they also serve as rescue vessels in emergency situations and are specifically designed to handle port operations or support the Navy. When the submarine completes its maintenance and is ready to return to the sea, the preparation process is far from simple. The dry dock is filled with water, and once again, the tugboats play a key role, pulling the submarine out just as they did when it was first brought in. At first glance, this might seem easy, but departing from the port requires close coordination and meticulous planning between teams across the entire shipyard. Do you think that just one small mistake could disrupt the entire process? If so, comment 1 below the video. Once it leaves the dock, the submarine rejoins the fleet, and the crew is ready to carry out new missions. However, life on a submarine is nothing like our everyday life. For fast attack submarines or cruise missile submarines in the US Navy, missions typically last about 6 months, while ballistic missile submarines may operate for 3 months. Notably, sailors are often assigned to submarines for 3 years, after which they take leave on land for 2 to 3 years. Have you ever imagined what life would be like without cell phone signals or windows to see the outside world? This is normal for submarine sailors, but not everything is harsh. One of the highlights is food, something many sailors highly appreciate. On the nuclear-powered Virginia-class submarine USS South Dakota, one of the key elements in maintaining the morale and health of the crew is the meals prepared by a team of 7 talented chefs. They are not just cooks, they are culinary artists, creating a variety of nutritious meals to meet the needs of the 135 sailors on board. One of the biggest challenges for the chefs on a submarine is preparing meals in the cramped space and with limited ingredients. Meals must be prepared before each shift, usually 4 hours in advance of serving, and the dishes need to meet the nutritional needs of the sailors during their long journey. Meals are not just food, they are a great morale booster for the sailors, helping them feel more connected to the outside world. The kitchen team on the submarine has to plan very carefully to ensure that the meals are varied, nutritious, and still creative. From pizza, omelets, and puddings to giant cookies, all the meals are carefully prepared and beautifully presented. In addition to preparing the main meals, the kitchen team also faces the challenge of managing the food supplies effectively, ensuring that all ingredients are used optimally without waste. This is crucial because the submarine cannot receive additional supplies from outside during its long journey at sea. Therefore, the kitchen team is not just cooking, they are also food management experts, ensuring each meal meets nutritional, freshness, and especially the sailors' taste preferences. However, life beneath the sea is far from easy. The space inside a submarine is very cramped, with narrow aisles and tiny sleeping quarters, making comfort nearly non-existent. Sailors must live and work in a confined environment where every square meter is maximized, just enough for one person to move around. They work in shifts of 6 to 8 hours, taking on different tasks every day, which requires flexibility and strong organizational skills. Such a high-volume workload demands that the sailors work in perfect harmony, ensuring everything runs smoothly despite the extremely difficult conditions. Moreover, the submarine must produce its own water and oxygen to sustain the crew throughout the journey. However, the submarine's ability to remain operational also depends on its food supplies, as the longer it stays submerged, the more critical the need for food and other essential supplies becomes. The heart of the submarine is the control room, where every operation of the submarine is monitored and coordinated. This is not only where the systems are operated, but also the submarine's core, where every crucial decision is made. Every sailor, whether enlisted or officer, plays a vital role in running the submarine. In this harsh environment, it's not only modern technology that keeps the submarine running, but also the dedication and expertise of each sailor. Individuals willing to spend months underwater to complete vital missions. These individuals aren't just soldiers. They are unsung heroes working tirelessly beneath the ocean to carry out missions that few outside can truly understand. What do you think about the untold stories from the depths of the sea? Does life on a submarine make you curious or inspire admiration for these dedicated individuals? If so, leave a comment below and we'll create more interesting videos about the life of sailors at sea for you. And don't forget to follow the Navy Power channel to stay updated on any exciting military content. See you in the next video. Imagine a Russian submarine unexpectedly surfacing near a U.S. aircraft carrier. Such confrontations have occurred before, particularly in the Mediterranean, highlighting the delicate balance of power on the oceans. With current global tensions, no one can confidently say that such events are impossible. A standoff like this requires deep understanding and careful deliberation. So, what would happen next in a confrontation between a Russian submarine and a U.S. aircraft carrier? Let's explore this scenario with Navy Power. The first line of defense lies in sophisticated detection methods. Powerful sonar systems act as underwater ears, emitting sound waves and analyzing their echoes to pinpoint the location of submarines. Advanced signal processing technology helps distinguish background noise from the unique sounds of a deeply submerged submarine, allowing the U.S. Navy to detect potential threats with precision and timeliness. Sonar works by emitting sound waves underwater and analyzing the echoes that return after encountering an object. When these sound waves hit an object like a submarine, they bounce back and are captured by the sonar system. This system not only accurately identifies the position of an enemy submarine, but also provides critical information about its speed and direction of movement. Thanks to its ability to detect submarines at great depths and in complex underwater environments, sonar allows U.S. warships to maintain the upper hand in underwater confrontations. This technology also helps the U.S. Navy mitigate threats from enemy submarines, creating a robust defense layer to protect vital sea routes and ensure national security. However, sonar isn't the only tool. Satellites and reconnaissance aircraft also scan vast ocean areas for signs of unusual activity. Additionally, underwater drones and other innovative technologies contribute to enhanced detection capabilities. If a submarine is detected near a carrier group, the situation becomes serious. The entire group is placed on high alert, with all personnel ready to respond to potential threats. At this stage, coordination and communication between units become critically important. In such a scenario, the aircraft carrier and its escort ships might alter course and speed to form a tighter defensive formation, making it harder for the submarine to approach and facilitating better coordination for anti-submarine warfare (ASW) responses. Helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft equipped with sonar and other detection devices would be deployed to locate the submarine more precisely. Ships within the carrier group would utilize torpedoes, depth charges, or other specialized weapons to neutralize the threat. Initial responses focus on gathering intelligence and establishing a strong defensive posture. Subsequent actions would depend on various factors, including the specific situation, international protocols, and rules of engagement. When a submarine surfaces near a carrier strike group, tensions can quickly escalate. In such a high-alert situation, clear communication and diplomatic efforts play a crucial role in preventing misunderstandings and escalation. Standard radio frequencies and dedicated communication channels enable direct contact between vessels. Additionally, international maritime signal flags are used to visually convey basic messages. Beyond direct ship-to-ship communication, diplomatic channels between the U.S. and Russia would likely be activated. Embassies and military officials would work behind the scenes to clarify intentions, de-escalate tensions, and seek a peaceful resolution. International maritime laws and conventions on maritime safety also contribute to conflict resolution, aiming to handle the situation calmly and professionally, utilizing clear communication and established diplomatic channels to ensure safety and prevent uncontrolled escalation. However, communication and diplomacy alone are not always sufficient to maintain peace on the seas. What would happen if a Russian submarine and a U.S. aircraft carrier were to engage in an actual conflict? What strategies do you think each side would employ? Share your thoughts in the comments below. When a Russian submarine surfaces near a U.S. aircraft carrier, it triggers a series of complex tactical and strategic reactions. Many strategies and considerations guide interactions in such tense scenarios. Aircraft carriers are the crown jewels of the strike group, and protecting them is of paramount importance. Carrier strike groups, CSGs, are a critical component of the U.S. Navy's defensive strategy, particularly in safeguarding aircraft carriers, the centerpiece of naval forces. CSGs typically include an aircraft carrier accompanied by escort ships such as cruisers and destroyers, forming a tightly knit defensive formation. These escort ships play a vital role in defending the carrier from threats posed by enemy submarines, utilizing advanced sonar systems to detect and track submarines. The sonar systems aboard these escort ships help identify and distinguish submarine noises, allowing the strike group time to react and deploy timely defensive measures, such as counterattacks or intensified patrols. Destroyers and cruisers within the CSG are also equipped with effective anti-submarine weapons, including anti-submarine missiles and other offensive systems, to neutralize threats from enemy submarines before they can approach the carrier. CSGs are not only offensive forces, but also integral components of the U.S. Navy's multidimensional defense strategy. Beneath the ocean, warships and submarines from global superpowers engage in a tense and complex environment. When a submarine surfaces near a carrier strike group, it becomes a confrontation not just of strategy and technology, but also of intent. Why would a submarine surface in the presence of a highly monitored and defended CSG? It might be due to mechanical failure or an urgent need to communicate. Such situations require a swift and calibrated response, as international maritime law has strict protocols for emergency aid and communication at sea. The carrier group might approach to provide assistance or maintain a safe distance to ensure that communication proceeds according to established procedures. If the situation shows signs of hostility, tensions would rise immediately. At that point, the rules of engagement, RO, would dictate the level of force the CSG is authorized to employ. These rules not only account for the threat level, but also consider international protocols and efforts to de-escalate conflicts whenever possible. The ultimate authority lies with the carrier group commander, and each decision they make significantly impacts the course of events. In non-hostile situations, the carrier strike group may maintain communication or monitor the submarine from a safe distance, and, at times, closely track it to ensure it poses no danger. International rules on freedom of navigation generally allow free operations in international waters, provided they do not interfere with the lawful activities of other nations. However, if a submarine surfaces near U.S. territorial waters, the CSG's response is likely to be more decisive, issuing direct warnings, both visual and verbal, to prevent the submarine from breaching restricted zones. Such encounters can disrupt ongoing missions, forcing the carrier group to reallocate resources to monitor the submarine, delaying planned activities or training exercises. Maintaining a strong defensive posture may also temporarily limit the carrier's offensive capabilities. A standoff between a submarine and a carrier strike group is truly a chess game where every move is carefully calculated. In a world where technology and strategies continually evolve, modern submarines boast superior stealth capabilities thanks to noise reduction technologies and sophisticated hydrodynamic designs. These features make them nearly invisible to detection systems, posing a significant threat to aircraft carriers, particularly when equipped with torpedoes, anti-ship missiles, and mines. However, this does not render carrier groups powerless. Advanced sonar systems, towed sonar arrays, and dipping sonar deployed from helicopters work in tandem to create a protective shield around the carrier. The escort ships in the group are also armed with anti-submarine weapons, such as missiles, torpedoes, and depth charges to neutralize the threat. Anti-submarine warfare, ASW tactics, are constantly refined, employing coordinated maneuvers to make it difficult for submarines to track and predict the movements of the carrier group. Modern simulation and data analysis technologies also aid commanders in predicting potential submarine activities, which is a key factor in maintaining superiority at sea. The battlefield extends beyond underwater confrontations to the realm of electronic warfare. Carrier strike groups utilize electronic warfare (EW) systems to jam enemy sonar and communication systems while protecting their own networks from cyber attacks. Conversely, submarines can also employ electronic warfare to conceal their presence or disrupt the ASW efforts of their adversaries. These advancements influence not only tactics, but also broader strategies for controlling the seas and projecting global power. For nations with carrier strike groups, countering the submarine threat remains a top priority. The technological arms race between submarines and aircraft carriers is a constant game of adaptation, where each side strives to gain the upper hand in the vast oceanic arena. History has witnessed intense standoffs between submarines and aircraft carriers, and each time, the ocean seems to hold its breath in tension. The 1970 incident, when a Soviet submarine surfaced near a U.S. carrier strike group in the Mediterranean, was one of the most tense confrontations between the two superpowers during the Cold War. The U.S., as a military superpower, utilized advanced sonar systems and defensive measures to monitor and detect enemy submarines. U.S. aircraft carriers, serving a strategic role in conflicts and tense situations, were prime targets for Soviet submarines aiming to monitor and even threaten them. With Soviet submarines operating near U.S. carriers, American officers had to act decisively, employing emergency countermeasures to protect their forces and prevent escalation into armed conflict. These measures included implementing defensive tactics such as enhanced sonar surveillance, deploying warships, and using intelligence-gathering tools to better understand the Soviet submarines' objectives. U.S. radar and sonar systems at the time played a crucial role in detecting enemy submarines and preventing potential actions. Nevertheless, the tense standoff was eventually resolved through diplomatic channels, underscoring the importance of maintaining diplomatic relations and negotiations to avoid a full-scale war. Do you think such encounters will continue as superpowers persist in projecting strength at sea? Join Navy Power and leave your comments about these strategic confrontations. We look forward to your insights. Throughout naval history, submarine and aircraft carrier encounters have highlighted the urgent need for clear communication protocols to avoid misunderstandings and escalation. Following such incidents, emergency communication channels were developed to ensure that calm judgment prevails during moments of heightened tension. Looking back at the late 20th century, declassified information revealed an incident involving a U.S. submarine and a Soviet carrier strike group. The U.S. submarine remained undetected for an extended period, demonstrating the advancement of modern submarines and raising concerns about the vulnerability of carrier groups to underwater threats. This incident spurred investments in anti-submarine warfare (ASW) technologies, particularly in the development of sonar systems and advanced tracking methods. In 2006, a Chinese Song-class submarine unexpectedly surfaced near a U.S. carrier strike group led by the USS Nimitz. Although the situation remained peaceful, it prompted a series of diplomatic actions and underscored the necessity of clear communication to prevent misunderstandings. Imagine a submarine using advanced noise reduction technology breaking through the carrier strike group's defensive perimeter. In such a scenario, electronic warfare (EW) would become a critical battleground. The carrier strike group could employ measures to jam and disrupt the submarine's systems, while the submarine would attempt to conceal its presence and counter anti-submarine efforts. Expert analysis and simulations conducted by military strategists play a vital role in preparing for such events. War games and simulations allow commanders to test strategies and tactics in controlled environments, identify weaknesses, and improve responses. These simulations account for various factors, such as the specific capabilities of the submarines and carrier strike groups involved, as well as environmental conditions and international protocols. The objective is to anticipate challenges and develop effective response plans to ensure safety and prevent escalation of conflict. The strategic impact of these events extends far beyond the direct confrontations. The insights gained from each situation have shaped future technological developments and strategic decisions. Nations with carrier strike groups strive to maintain a lead in anti-submarine technology, while those relying on submarines constantly seek advancements in stealth and weaponry. This push-and-pull dynamic between the two has defined the landscape of naval power, underscoring the importance of maintaining clear communication channels and fostering international cooperation. Beyond the strategic elements, environmental concerns are critically important. Aircraft carriers and submarines are marvels of modern engineering, but they share the oceans with marine life. A major issue is noise pollution. Imagine an extremely loud underwater vacuum cleaner. That's the effect of ship engines and sonar on marine creatures. This noise can disrupt their communication, hinder their ability to find food, and even damage their hearing. Incidents like oil spills or the destruction of sensitive seabed habitats can also occur, taking years for the ocean to recover. Fortunately, there are ways to mitigate these impacts. New designs feature quieter technology, and some navies employ specialized sonar settings to reduce noise pollution. Nations also collaborate to establish marine protection rules, such as designating shipping lanes that avoid sensitive habitats. Through smart technology and adherence to international agreements, we can keep the oceans clean for all living creatures, even as massive ships traverse the waters. What are your thoughts on such encounters? How do you think these situations could influence global political dynamics? Share your ideas in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, don't forget to like and subscribe to Navy Power for more fascinating content about the U.S. Navy.